On the night of 12th June 2025, Air India flight AI-171, a Boeing 787 Dreamliner, took off from Ahmedabad airport. It never reached cruising altitude. Within seconds, both engines failed. The aircraft plunged into the ground, killing all 241 passengers on board and 19 people on the ground. The tragedy shook the nation. And now, weeks later, a preliminary report has surfaced. According to the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau, the engines shut down because both fuel control switches in the cockpit were set to cut off just moments after takeoff. The aviation world held its breath. Was this human error? Sabotage? A technical malfunction? The report includes a voice exchange from the cockpit. One pilot asked, "Why did you cut off the fuel?" The other responded, "I did not." Then silence. This 1.2-second moment has become the center of global speculation. The fuel control switches are placed on the central pedestal of the Dreamliner's cockpit. They are manually operated and require deliberate force to move. Flipping one accidentally is rare. Flipping both, in perfect succession, without noticing, almost impossible. Many media outlets jump to conclusions. Some accuse the captain, who had over 15,000 hours of flying experience, of a fatal mistake. Others suggested something darker, intentional action. But aviation experts, former pilots, and international observers say this conclusion is premature. In India, pilot federations like FIP and ALPA have publicly rejected this narrative. They say the report implies guilt without evidence. They weren't even consulted during the investigation. Their demand is simple: involve trained aviation experts and suspend public conclusions until the full data is reviewed. Even the NTSB chair in the US called media report speculative and irresponsible. And the CEO of Air India said the report raised more questions than answers. Because here's what's missing. The report does not explain whether this was a mechanical failure, human error, or some interface issue between the systems and the crew. It does not mention if the switches were bumped accidentally, triggered by software failure, or moved by external causes. It also does not explore whether the throttle control module could have malfunctioned, a known concern in older Boeing systems. And most importantly, it doesn't say why this happened. Pilots who reviewed the report argue no trained crew member would cut off fuel at the most critical phase of flight, takeoff. It's not a logical error. It defies basic airmanship. But beyond logic lies the systemic silence. India's aviation sector has often operated in a fog of secrecy. Investigation reports are delayed. Pilot unions are excluded. And technical accountability is often replaced by convenient scapegoating. In this case, blaming the pilots is easy. It's clean. It requires no reform. But if that switch was flipped by a faulty signal, a flawed training protocol, or pressure to fly despite fatigue, then this isn't pilot error. It's system failure. To assign blame this early is to close the case without investigation. The families of the 260 victims deserve answers, not assumptions. And the crew, who died trying to save their aircraft, deserve more than being remembered only as suspects. The final report is still months away. Until then, the only honest response is silence, analysis, patience, and the refusal to accept the easy answer, when the truth may be far more difficult. This was Perspective of Varun. I'll see you in the next one.